hey, fun updates. Death toll in Gaza is around 12,000 people. That doesn't mean 12,000 Gazans tragically died. That means Israel has murdered 12,000 Gazans. Let's get it right. Almost half of those are children. There's now been a mass exodus displacement. About 200,000 of Gazans have left northern Gaza. There are now humanitarian pauses, which are just sort of like moments where, the sort of grip around your neck kind of like loosens a little bit. You gasp a breath, and then bombing continues. The U.S. has said, this is interesting, like, what's the ultimate goal for Gaza? The U.S. has said they want the Palestinian Authority to take over Gaza, and Israel's like, what? Like, we never said that. A senior member of Benjamin Netanyahu's government said that Gaza could not survive as an independent entity, and Palestinians should agree to voluntary immigration. That on top of the fact that you've seen Israeli soldiers basically like with the Israeli flag on the shores of Gaza, like on the beach, being like, here we are again. Even some folks hanging the pride flag in just the most disgusting show of pink washing, the most horrible bad faith interpretation of gay rights. But the big news is hospitals, right? So multiple hospitals are under attack. The Al-Shifa hospital in northern Gaza is like one of these main hospitals because thousands of people have been sheltering outside of it. Not anymore, because it has been under siege. There are about 650 patients there, 200 to 500 health workers, 1,500 displaced people seeking shelter there. It's been running out of fuel and electricity. Babies that were previously in incubators, if you've seen images, they are now wrapped in blankets, huddled together to prevent them from dying, and a few already have. However, Israel claims that Al-Shifa is a base for Hamas and that there's a bunker underneath it, and that the babies were using the incubators as human shields from the human. I had it, but anyway, they just so they can't have the incubators because it's a weapon of war or whatnot, and they're like baby Hamas. They're preemie Hamas is pretty much what it is. Here is a Norwegian surgeon, Dr. Mads Gilbert, sending this video from Al-Shifa Hospital, imploring President Biden and leaders of the world to do something. Take a look.
President Biden, President Biden, President Biden, Mr. Blinken, can you hear me? Prime ministers and presidents of the European countries, can you hear me? Can you hear the screams from Shifa Hospital, from Al-Auda's Hospital? Can you hear the screams from innocent people, refugees, sheltering, trying to find a safe place, being bombed by the Israeli attack forces this morning inside the hospital? Hospitals that are the temples of humanity and protection. When are you going to stop this? You're all complicit.
So that's just chilling. That is just, Dina, I think we're all waiting for this moment where we're like, oh, we can look back in hindsight and be like, wow, that was crazy. And, some people will be like, wow, that was wrong. And then there's most of us who are like, no, it is wrong and it's ongoing. But the footage we're seeing, the like undeniable, like the truth of something like that, beyond the actual bodies themselves is so chilling to me. And is just, anyway, I don't have words for it.
It makes you understand how atrocities of the past that we think of as unrepeatable are able to happen. Because like it's happening right now, and we know what we're doing. Like I'm still on stage doing comedy. Like it doesn't make sense that these horrible things can happen, and other people who know it's wrong, it's unfixable and intractable. We're so powerless, and it's just so insane.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. Look, I do think that pressure is working, and we've seen that it is working. I think people should keep calling, but yeah, the dissonance is just wild, and also being incredibly gaslit by Israeli propaganda. And here's Biden being asked about the hospital. This is, of course, a few days after he said that there's no chance for a ceasefire. But then when it's asked about the hostages, he said, "We're doing everything we can." Like, there was a long pause and kind of a they're probably dead. I probably can't do anything. I've already committed a bunch more weapons. I'm asking Congress for $320 million more dollars. We're doing everything we can, just in one breath, or 12 or however many he needs to do to sort of, keep himself alive for the next year. Here he is being asked about Al Shifa Hospital.
Have you expressed any specific concerns to Israel on that, sir?
Well, I have not been reluctant in expressing my concerns what's going on. And it's my hope and expectation that there will be less intrusive action relative to the hospital. I remain somewhat hopeful, but the hospital must be protected.
Less intrusive action. It is my hope that there will be less intrusive. Yes, Dark Brandon rises. I swear to God, Dina, watching this, to me, even more of my more of my soul just sort of rotted out. Watching him so self-aware about the fact that he's gonna do fuck all, the fact that he is so impotent, the fact that he won't stand up to Netanyahu, he won't keep weapons, rescind weapons. He won't, that the General Lloyd Austin is helping with plans to roll into Gaza, has been advising the Israeli military, and he knows he's full of shit. And the media, they're asking a few questions and then they sort of back off, like a little bit of a retreating wave situation. The tide goes in, then it goes out again, and we all forget about it. But people are, I don't know what else to, I'm so fucking mad. And this guy is so powerless, and he's so weak, and he knows it, and he's so goddamn old. And I've been refraining from saying he's old. Who cares if he's old? He does, all he has to do is not start World War III. And now he started it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you read that, please?
My favorite was the clip of when the reporter was like, "Is there a possibility of a ceasefire?" And he was like, "No, no possibility." You know which clip I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was the most alert I had ever seen him. He was just, most of the time he seems like he's kind of out of it, but on the ceasefire question, he was just really on the ball.
Yeah, and then he danced himself away. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm not answering any more questions about dead babies." Look, we talked about it last week with Max Elbaum, but I have been not just disappointed, but when I saw the headline about babies in incubators dying, I was like, I can't. How am I gonna vote for this dude? How does he expect to seek our vote? This is utter bullshit. And and I don't go around in this country as an Arab or Muslim American, right? You are someone who does, you go on stage. You know what I'm saying? I've been thinking about comics, especially because every night you go up, or you go up often, and you're like, you can't, or if you're Palestinian American, what are you gonna hide that fact? And your entire, your religion, your ethnicity, your nationality is being demonized right now. So anyway, any thoughts on that? That's been sort of weighing on me.
I mean, that's not new. I guess I'm not shocked, just because it's kind of been indoctrinated. Everyone in this country, I feel doesn't see people in the Middle East as I hate to say it, but I think people implicitly think of people in the Middle East as oh yeah, they're the ones that are supposed to die. We've been in war, in war in the Middle East my entire life, and there's never protest. There's never, I've watched people just openly, sort of implicitly, be racist about it without even thinking of themselves as racist. It's just because yeah, that's what we do there. There's war in the Middle East. That's just what it is. They don't consider that there's people there who don't want to be at war. So I can't say I'm shocked by any of it. What I am shocked by, pleasantly surprised, is this is the most I've ever seen anybody speak up for Arabs in my life. And so that's really cool to see. But at the same time, it tells me oh, things must be really bad for all these people to be speaking up. But also, I think society has progressed, so that's nice.
Totally. I mean, at the one on the same by the same token, like I have very little words. I'm so angry. I'm so pissed at the media and the political establishment here and all the warmongers and all the war profiteers. But Ilhan Omar is going to be introducing a resolution to basically block $320 million of aid to Israel. It won't pass, but it's important. Like, at least there are squad members standing up. At least there are massive outpourings and solidarity with Palestinians and saying, we want a ceasefire. There are people using their platforms, like, young folks, some kid that I don't even, Red Veil, I don't even know who this kid is. And he's like a musician asking for his audience members to call their representatives. Like, that kind of shit is really heartening. So again, there's a lot of dissonance. It is wild, but it's like, this is unfolding before our very eyes. There are mass graves being dug in the hospital. There are bodies on the streets. People in wheelchairs are on foot trying to leave Gaza in what is being called by the Israeli, I think, Minister of Agriculture, which is weird, calling it Gaza's Nakba. This is the Gaza Nakba, which basically means we know this is mass displacement, which, by the way, for those of you who don't love the word genocide, mass displacement is part of genocide. Armenian genocide, mass displacement. Trail of Tears, part of American Indian genocide. Let's not forget. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.